New York City's Democrat, socialist, and arguably communist mayor-elect requested a meeting with President Trump. And now Zohran Mamdani has arrived in Washington, D.C. The president agreed to meet with him at the White House. And we could see quite a clash or a calm conversation, or maybe a combination of both.
You're traveling down a road, a quiet, suburban stretch of asphalt that feels familiar. The streetlights are humming, the lawns are manicured, and the grocery store on the corner has its open sign glowing in a welcoming neon red. To the naked eye, it seems to look okay. A picture of normalcy in a postcard world. But the map you're following is a forgery. The open sign is a phantom, and the prices on the shelves aren't paid in dollars, but in the slow erosion of a neighbor's soul. You've just crossed a border where common sense is a forgotten language, and hope is a currency that's been devalued to zero. You haven't just taken a wrong turn. You've entered the Mamdani Zone. Exhibit A, a man with a plan. A plan wrapped in the velvet of subsidies, but lined with the cold iron of state control. He stands in the Oval Office, an innocent smile plastered on a face that hides a pipe dream. He thinks he's playing the game, unaware that the man behind the desk has already seen the ending of the script. President Trump, a man who speaks the blunt dialect of common sense, isn't stopping the clock. No, he's letting it tick. He's letting the socialist goons wreck the room so that you, the viewer, can finally see the wreckage for what it is. He's showing you the receipts of a hollow ideology that has dumbed down a city until it forgot how to feed itself.
We have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people.
The Democrats have spent years weaving a tapestry of lies, but the threads are pulling apart. The Kansas miracle was a mirage. The public option is a funeral for the bodega on the corner. The tragedy isn't that they failed. The tragedy is that they insist it's a victory. But in this dimension, facts don't lie, and the ledger always balances in the end. They've been exposed, not by a conspiracy, but by the weight of their own failures. And as the shadow of Zohran Mamdani grows long over the 5 boroughs, the people are waking up to a reality they were never supposed to see. A lesson in economics taught in the hard classroom of political detox.
The last thing we need is a communist. He's a total nutjob.
That there is no borough that will be free from Trump's cruelty.
The Mamdani thing is it's a disaster waiting to happen.
This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one.
He's a communist. He's not a socialist, by the way. There's a big difference. He's a communist. He's down and dirty. He's a communist.
My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare.
Tonight's verdict comes not from a court of law, but from the court of public consequence. You've seen the players. You've seen the socialist savior with his state-owned shells, and the common-sense dealer with his cold, calculating gaze. One offered a pipe dream wrapped in taxpayer gold. The other offered the truth by simply standing back and letting the dream catch fire.
The president has repeatedly called Mamdani a communist, but says he wants him to succeed for the sake of New York City. I can tell you my team has just informed me that top 4 ranking Democrats voted for this denouncement of socialism.
That's
Surprise
right.
or not?
I'd ask a simple question of Mamdani. Do you believe that workers should control the means of production?
Well, I don't really know. He's got a different philosophy. He's a little bit different. I give him a lot of credit for the run. He did a successful run, and we all know that runs are not easy. But I think we'll get along fine.
President Trump didn't need to shout to win New York. He didn't need to campaign on every street corner or beg for a single vote. He did something far more surgical. He gave the ideology of the left a front-row seat at its own funeral. He welcomed Zohran Mamdani into the halls of power, treated him like a peer, and then watched as the Mamdani miracle dissolved into a series of very expensive, very public receipts.
Reporters pressing Mamdani on calling Trump a fascist, but in a stunning moment, the president jumping in to help.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes. Okay. That's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
He let the Democrats live out their own demise, showing the world that when common sense leaves the room, society doesn't just stumble, it shatters. The lies have been exposed. The dumbed-down era of the Democratic machine has hit the wall of reality.
Mamdani posted to X, in the richest country on earth, 40% of New York City families can't afford weekly food costs, and food prices are up 33% over the past decade. It's time for a city government that puts affordability at the top of the agenda. But President Trump is among those who have chided Mamdani's promises, saying you can't pay for free buses, free childcare, and raise the minimum wage without raising taxes on corporations, which could cause a wealth exodus from the capitalism center of the world.
I know that for tens of thousands of New Yorkers, this meeting is between two very different candidates who they voted for the same reason. They wanted a leader who would take on the cost of living crisis that makes it impossible for working people to afford living in this city.
The situation now extends to Seattle, where the mayor-elect has chosen to boycott Starbucks, a company founded in her own city. Is this what we want? A country where those who run our cities turn their backs on the very entrepreneurial spirit that made them thrive?
Well, a new op-ed on FoxNews.com on capitalist messages. Mamdani should hear a few of them at least. Look at this. Capitalism expands supply. Socialism rations it. Capitalism creates jobs. Socialism creates dependence. Mamdani was asked about his very ambitious promises and apparently doesn't care how they are just paid for. He just wants them to get done. Watch this.
I think that a lot of this is still a case to be made. Whether it's the corporate tax or whether it's the personal income tax on those who make more than $1 million a year or more, I think that these are the clearest ways. I've also said that if there are other ways to raise this funding, the most important fact is that we fund it. Not the question of how we do it, but that we do it. Not the question of how we do it, but that we do it. Not the question of how we do it, but that we do it.
And Trump making it clear he not only respects, but even admires Mamdani's political success, Rachel.
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
A lesson in economics, taught in the hard classroom of the human condition. A case file marked closed, yet the ink is still wet on the page. We've seen the socialist smirk and the fake smile, tools designed to convince a city that they can have the harvest without the labor. But as the citizens of the 5 boroughs are finding out, the truth has a funny way of surviving even the darkest detox. They were told that the system was the problem, only to discover that the solution was a cage built of subsidies and empty shells. A realization that capitalism, for all its sharp edges and unequal blessings, remains the only engine discovered by man that can actually put food on the table. Will they ever catch on? Or will they remain lost in the fog of a pipe dream that ends in a breadline? For the answer, we must look westward to a small town in Kansas that became the unwilling laboratory for their experiment now threatening to consume New York. Join us as we step deeper into the anatomy of a failure. A journey from the skyscrapers of Manhattan to the quiet, empty aisles of Erie, Kansas. Another man, another Mamdani episode, another truth waiting to be told. This has been a briefing from Political Detox, and the next stop on our tour of the abyss is just around the bend. Final word. You've got the momentum, the data, and now the perfect transition into the next chapter of this multi-part saga, seen through the eyes of those who appear trapped in a location we deem the Mamdani Zone. The link is above, and I'll be sure to meet you there on the other side for another glimpse into this fragile and most volatile world.